Hi everyone, A&P Adventures here. In case you don't know, that's Aaron and I'm Patrick. And today we're showing you a Hago rerun. We went to Union Square and it's a really cool park filled with rich history. And we got a great view of the park from like 4 floors up at the end of the tour. So make sure you stick around to watch the end. Again, this was March of 2023.
Here it comes.
What's up? Hello, everyone. Welcome to New York City.
Yeah, we're here.
We are
in New York
here.
City. We're in New York City, and we're ready for a tour.
Yeah. Yes, I'm ready.
I was thinking I sounded like a cheerleader. We're here in New York City, and we're ready for a tour.
Herky. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Tiash.
We're glad you are with us. Tiash. Who's got...
Oh, some people had some green beer, too much green beer yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Not us. We didn't. We did have a Shamrock Shake.
Oh, right.
We had a Shamrock Shake. That was our celebration yesterday. But yeah, that was it. We didn't even see too many celebrations. Usually in New York, you see lots of inebriated revelers.
We didn't see a lot of that yesterday.
I feel like they get drunk early and then go home and pass out.
Okay.
I feel like that happens a lot in New York.
We did visit with a friend who is 100% Irish.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Somebody
celebrated with him.
Susan said, yeah, had a Guinness truffle. Delish.
Interesting.
Noreen, you marched in the New York City parade, but no booze. That's fun.
That's cool that you were in the parade.
Hi, Diane. Just scrolling back. All right. Here we go.
All right.
Hi, Pamela. Pamela Marie. Welcome. Yeah, it was a nice day for the parade and for all the festivities here in New York.
Yeah.
It was a lovely day. You have more than one. We won't tell.
No, your secret is safe with us.
Yeah.
Susan. Julianne, welcome. Hago Guide in Germany, Trier. Welcome, welcome.
And Janice watched Dave in Dublin. Patrick watched a little bit of Dave as well.
I watched the very end of that tour, which was really cool. Yeah, that was neat to see.
He had a good viewpoint. I mean, you showed me some of it. That was pretty great.
Yeah, he had a great vantage point for his tour, which was really cool.
Yeah. Welcome everybody tuning in. We're about a little over 5 minutes away from starting our tour of Union Square on this beautiful sunshiny day in New York City.
Yeah, we're gonna have a great day for a tour today, which is nice. Nice blue skies and pretty pictures.
It's windy on our end, but who cares? We'll be fine. We've got our wind protector on our microphone.
That's right.
Yeah.
For those of you who might be new to us, well, thank you for joining us. And if you are new, I'm Patrick.
And I'm Aaron.
And we're happy you're here. We've been on the Hago platform from the get-go, pretty much.
Hago from the get-go.
We enjoy doing these tours. It's been sort of a little bit of a lifeline over the last couple of years. If you don't know us, Aaron and I are theater actors, and
we're married.
And we are married, yes.
Yeah.
The old ball and chain, am I right? We during the pandemic, the theater business, of course, was shut down, like so many things. Sorry, and we started doing these Hago tours, and now that theater is back, we love doing the Hago tours so much. We were like, let's keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's really fun. That was our number one rule with Hago. Is when we started doing this, we were like, this sounds interesting and fun, and as long as it stays fun, we'll keep doing it.
Susan said, love the Hago pie symbol. Do you know that we finished the fudge pie last night, and we will probably finish the chicken pot pie for dinner tonight, because we made 2. So we had double pie.
Yeah.
I will say this. My plan was the fudge pie that I made the morning of the tour, I was going to gift to a friend who helped me out with something. And I think, so we didn't bake it till later that evening because we had to run to rehearsal. And I think because it sat in the fridge all day, it didn't look as nice as when you bake it right away. So I didn't gift it, and we're eating it instead. because it doesn't look as good.
Yeah.
But it tastes good.
Yeah.
Tasted good, because it's gone. You want our magic oven.
Yeah. Becca, that was a magic of it.
Yeah.
Becca, my goodness, thank you so much. Is your mom on with us? Betty Ann. Betty Ann, yeah.
Agreed. Taste is what matters. I know, but when you aren't gifting
Yay.
it, you want it to look too.
Well, Betty Ann, we're going to show you a little bit of Union Square today. I don't know if
Yay.
you'll remember any time of your time here in New York in Union Square, but, we'll take you around your old haunts.
Julia, we're both doing a show called Deer World, which only runs through this week here in the city. There's a really cool company here in New York called City Center Encores, and they present older musicals that maybe didn't get their fair shake the first time around or were just a flop the first time around, and they present them in a full-scale production with solid Broadway talent to sort of revive it for a week and see what it looks like. So Deer World is an odd show based on the play The Mad Woman of Chaillot by Jerry Herman, who also wrote Hello Dolly and Mame. And we run just through tomorrow. And I am standing by for two of the characters. And Patrick got brought in during rehearsals to cover somebody who got COVID. So Patrick is now also backstage because that person has returned. But it has been a delightful little gig.
Yeah, it's great. Encores, for anybody that doesn't know, this Encore series is such a cool thing because we get to see and hear old Broadway scores that don't normally get heard. They have a huge City Center orchestra, so we get to hear these old Broadway scores through this Encores series, in the most lush way,
Yeah.
In its full glory, which is a really cool thing.
Yeah. The production of Chicago that's on Broadway right now and that's toured around for a while, it started at Encores. The recent Into the Woods revival that's also touring right now, it started at Encores. So it's a cool organization. They do some neat stuff. This show won't have much of an afterlife because it's very strange, but a very good production of a strange show.
Yeah.
I'm gonna post. Shall I do it? Or you want me to wait?
Sure, go ahead.
You want me to wait?
No.
Oh. And none other than Patrick made it in the New York Times. I just put a picture there in the chat. You can see him in the
That's me over there on the
upper
right.
corner.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cool. The New York Times gave it a great review. I don't know that it'll have a future, but it's a perfect Encores show. This Encore series, because there's shows and scores you don't get to hear very often.
Yeah, yeah. Hi, Carol. Welcome from New Brunswick. Happy you're with us.
We just have about 15 seconds, and then we're going to get going. We have not started yet.
Kurt Weill, is that like spelled different than the Kurt Weill, the composer? But is that a play on the composer's name, or is that your name? I love that. I love Kurt Weill too.
Look at little old Mac Heath.
Welcome everybody. We're happy you're with us today in New York City. It's go time.
Yeah.
It is 11 a.m. here in New York. It is 7 degrees Celsius. It is 44 degrees Fahrenheit. And the sun is shining and the skies are blue with little wisps of pretty clouds. It's going to be a lovely, lovely walk through Union Square this morning. If you're new to us, I'm Aaron.
And I'm Patrick.
And we're happy you are with us this morning. And this is a live tour. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask us along the way. And we'll do our best to answer them. We don't have to deal with too much traffic today, because once we cross into the Union Square area, as it were, we're not dealing with too many cars or trucks or buses.
Better scurry.
It's you.
Oh, it's me. Hi. You can also take pictures on this tour, which is such a cool thing. Anytime you see something that you like, hit that picture button. If you're depending on what you're using, if you're using your phone or the app, it's in different places. It's either in the center of your screen or over on the side. But either way, when you hit that picture button, the postcard picture is saved in your Heygo profile, and you can share those with your family or friends and let them all know where you've been traveling to, virtually, of course.
Finally, if you're having any technical issues, good luck, am I right? Don't technical issues stink? I wish that we could reach through the phone and help you, but A, we can't. I don't know how that works. And B, we're terrible with technical issues. So the best thing to do is to let the Hago team know.
Yeah.
And if we have some signal issues on our end, we'll let you know. This tour doesn't usually plague us, although I probably just jinxed us. So fingers crossed we don't have any issues with that. I think that's it. Should we get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's go. Welcome everybody to Union Square. We're just outside of Union Square, just a little bit, because we're going to start off by showing you this really cool building right over here, which is the Consolidated Edison building. This 20-story building. It was designed by Warren and Wetmore, a name that you might recognize if you are. If you follow us and tour with us on other tours, specifically Grand Central, because they were two of the designers on Grand Central Terminal. This is the headquarters for Con Ed, or Consolidated Edison, which is our power company. And it was built between 1911 and 1929 in a couple of stages. You can see how it's kind of got some different stages there, but I just love that architecture. And you might see that lurking in the background of a lot of our Union Square shots today. So we like starting off with that one to show it off before we head in. All right, so we're just going to let a little bit of traffic pass, and then we're going to cross over and make our way into the heart of Union Square and wander around. I think we're good once this bike passes. Why is that bike slowing down? And now that bus is speeding up. That's the perfect storm. All right, so we're going to make our way into Union Square, which is one of New York's major destinations for shopping, for restaurants, for culinary extravaganzas, and we'll talk more about that on our way through. It's also a very popular rally spot over the years, and we'll chat about that as well. It's relatively small. It's only about 6.5 acres, or about 2.5 hectares. It's bounded by 14th Street to the south, which is what we're walking along right now, and hi, Dawn. And 14th Street to the south and 17th Street to the north. And then Union Square West, which is kind of like Broadway, and Union Square East, which is sort of like Park Avenue or 4th Avenue. There's not much of a 4th Avenue left. It's basically Park Avenue.
Here's a classic New York newsstand. That's what they look like now. The old green-colored stands no longer exist.
A thing of the past.
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about this, Patrick, but there's a newsstand by Lincoln Center that doesn't get much traffic these days, so they're talking about turning it into an electric bike charging station.
Oh, cool.
So I wonder if we'll start to see more of these newsstands start to have more functions as sadly as print starts to go away and things become digital. We'll see.
Casey, well, no news is good news, right?
Now, Union Square is maintained by the New York City Department of Parks and Recreation, and neighborhood-wise, we have. Should we go through here? Yeah, we might as well. Neighborhood-wise, we have the Flatiron District to our north. We have Chelsea to the west. We have Gramercy Park to the east, and we have the Village to the south of us. Now, initially, this area was a potter's field, or a burial ground for the unknown. Now, that was ultimately established with the 1811 Commissioner's Grid Plan, which we talk about on a lot of our tours, which basically gridded out the streets of New York. Originally, it was called Union Place, and it's named Union not because this is the birthplace of Labor Day and unions, but because this is the union of Broadway and 4th Avenue. So that's where the name Union comes from here. And it was originally modeled after the kind of fashionable residential squares in London. Originally, it was enclosed with an iron fence all the way around it, but there were major renovations in 1872. Look at this old subway entrance. Love that canopy up there. 1872, Olmsted and Box, who also did Central Park, did a major renovation on Union Square, and they decided to take down that iron fence to make it a little bit more inviting so people could just sort of walk right in. So while Central Park was meant to be a little bit more romantic and natural, Union Square is meant to be more rigid and public. Welcome everybody joining.
I just want to say it sounds like they're doing some mulching in the park today, so we might hear
Ooh.
them cutting up some trees.
Mulcherific. So we're actually going to show you a couple buildings along the edge of the park as well. The first one we're going to show off is the Darrell Roth Theater, which is right over here across the street. It opened in 1907 as the Union Square Savings Bank. And now this was designed by Henry Bacon, who also did the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. And it ceased being a bank in the mid-90s. And no, that's okay.
Yeah, I'm just moving over here.
Yeah. It ceased being a bank in the mid-90s, and Daryl Roth, who's a major theatrical producer here in New York City, purchased the bank and turned it into an off-Broadway theater. Currently playing there is a show called Titanic, which is a spoof on Titanic, as if Celine Dion is on the Titanic, which is really quite, it's very humorous. I've seen it. Patrick hasn't seen it yet, but we gotta get him to see it because it's really quite fun. This area was also the first major theater district of New York City. It was named the Rialto after Venice's Rialto. So it stands to reason that there would be some theaters still left in this area. I'm going to just show you, before we kind of make our way further north, again, as Patrick said, they're doing some mulching in the park. So apologies for the grinding behind us all day. But right here we have a statue of Marquis de Lafayette. This was dedicated in 1876. And it's a bronze sculpture. It's by Frederick Auguste de Bartholdi. Bartholdi also did the Statue of Liberty. Entrance applause for the Statue of Liberty. Yay! But this depicts Marquis de Lafayette, who was the French-born general who fought on behalf of American rebels during the American Revolution. And this was a token of appreciation from the French government for aid New York provided during the Franco-Prussian War. About 15 feet tall, just to give you some perspective, or about 4.5 meters. Again, Marquis de Lafayette, made a little bit more famous these days because of the musical Hamilton. Of course, he's a major character in the musical Hamilton.
For anybody who is wondering, those sideways camera shots. If you're not familiar with that, we create that long shot so that we can get either tall buildings or just so you can get the whole thing that we're showing in the shot, and then you can edit those later to be right side up.
And you can frame them. Why not?
Yeah.
Make a nice little picture out of it. Somebody asked, what did they do with those that were in the Potter's Field? You know what? Here at Union Square, I'm not really sure. Washington Square, they relocated them. I'm not sure about Union Square, what they did with those unknown that were buried here.
I'm assuming the same.
I hope so.
Washington Square.
Yeah. Can we just show the compost right behind us? I know this sounds random, but New York City just started a major composting campaign. So here on Saturdays, we have compost here at Union Square, and we're starting to get compost bins for all the major apartment buildings in New York. So that makes us very happy.
We try to whenever we can, but it's hard to find places. So hopefully if they end up in our building, then we'll start composting.
Now, once we clear this big truck to our right, we're going to show you the Tammany Hall building, 44 Union Square. You'll see kind of a glass dome there on top. This was the headquarters for Tammany Hall from 1929 to 1943. Tammany Hall ultimately dissolved in the 60s, and it was a political organization that ultimately set out to help the poor, but, well, their leaders became wealthy in the process. I know, shocking, right, from that political organization. The most famous leader of the Tammany Hall was Boss Tweed. In 1943, that society could no longer afford this building, so the International Ladies Garment Workers Union moved in, and there's an auditorium in there. It was named after FDR, the Roosevelt Auditorium. Became a very popular meeting spot for unions. Ultimately, the Roundabout Theater Company started leasing a space in here, and it became a theater for quite some time, the Union Square Theater. We saw quite a few shows there.
Exactly, Helen. They helped themselves.
Yes, exactly. But it has since been renovated into a commercial space. As you can see, Petco is moving in there, the pet supply company. I kind of wish I'm all for pets, but I wish there was something a little bit more interesting moving into that historic building. But maybe over time they'll find something new. Now, this building that's lit so beautifully right across from it is now the W Hotel. It was designed in the Beaux-Arts style by Djansch and Yost. It's completed in 1911.
Good morning. Welcome.
And initially, this was the headquarters for the Germania Life Insurance Company. They were there until 1999, and then it was converted into the W Hotel. But I just want to show it off on this beautiful day because the sun's hitting it so gorgeously. You can see that, the Beaux-Arts style is kind of in, we see these very symmetrical designs, very ornate. And this is a perfect example of that. So symmetrical, and that top is so ornate as well.
Yeah.
Going to scroll back. There's a question there. Is there still a Dillon's Candy Bar store at Union Square? Asked Katie. I think the Dillon's here has closed.
I think so. I think Dillon's closed in New York. There might be some like pop-up shops still.
At Hudson Yards, I think, is the only one I can think of offhand now. So you're going to start to see some glimpses of the farmers market. Now, the last few times we've taken you to Union Square, it's been much smaller, but as we start to hit spring, it is becoming much larger, the Union Square market. It originally began as just a few farmers in 1976. And now at its peak, it can have upwards of 140 regional farmers, bakers, fishers, florists. Around 60,000 shoppers pass through here each day that the market is happening. And the market only happens on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday today. And it's usually from about 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And you'll sometimes see cooking demonstrations. There will be beer and spirit pop-ups. Sometimes book signings, educational stations, the composting, as we saw. So it's a pretty cool market that's also used by a lot of the local restaurants as well. Come here to do a lot of their acquisition for their menus, and a lot of the local restaurants will even sort of see what's fresh here at the market and adjust their menus accordingly. So that's why you see Union Square as being such a culinary destination restaurant-wise, because some of these use such fresh ingredients from here. This is also where the holiday market happens that some of you came with us on last December. Have more so on the southern end. Gosh, it's so beautiful.
Really cool. Agreed, Nadine. They are stunning. These are all dried.
Gosh, the light's hitting them so perfectly too.
Yeah.
While we're basically where we're standing also is the sort of the birthplace of the very first Labor Day parade. So September 5th, 1882, approximately 10,000. Ooh, lots of carrots. Look at all that.
Big carrots.
Those are big carrots. Oh, wow.
Say big carrot cake.
Oh, I like that. I like that way of thinking. For those that didn't hear, Patrick said, you know what they say about big carrots? Big carrot cake. So September 5th, 1882, approximately 10,000 workers met at City Hall, paraded up Broadway through Union Square, where there were reviewing stands right here, basically behind this tulip stand, or from Phillips Farms right here. And it was organized by the New York Central Labor Union. It became known as the very first Labor Day celebration right here. The state of Oregon was the first state to formally recognize Labor Day. That was in 1887. And then it became a national holiday in 1894. But it all began right here in New York City, the beginnings of Labor Day. I think we have a break in these tents right here where we can show, we kind of got stuck behind a tent, so we couldn't show this building, but now there's a little bit of a break. You can see the Barnes & Noble directly across the street. This is 17th Street, by the way, ahead of us. But this was built in 1881, and it was built as a speculative commercial space. And it's built in the Queen Anne style. We don't have a whole lot of Queen Anne architecture in New York City, and in large part that's because when New York was coming to prominence in the early 1900s, Beaux-Arts was the in vogue style, in large part because they wanted to model themselves after Paris. But there's been a long history in this building of publishing. It originally served as a publishing house for quite a few popular magazines at the time. Then a bookbinding company moved in. And so it's kind of perfect that there's a Barnes & Noble there. It's sort of stayed with that sort of publishing book theme over the years. Now, the pavilion that we were showing you earlier also kind of has a long history with protests and rallies and meetings, demonstrations. As we said, the very first Labor Day parade was here. The very first suffragette parade was here. Emma Goldman made her famous free bread speech here, August 21st, 1893, in front of 3,000 people right here. Funeral processions for Abraham Lincoln and Andrew Jackson. It has continued throughout the years as a very popular place for protests, even up until the most recent major protests over the death of George Floyd. This was one of the major protest spots here in New York City. And originally where that pavilion was, sorry, I'm laughing because that little kid is throwing his shoes all over, and the mom has no idea. She'll discover it very quickly. But originally where that concrete pavilion is, there was a wooden structure, similar to the wooden structures we've shown you in Central Park before. But that newer structure came about in 1932 when the park had major renovations. Thank goodness, it's so busy today.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful day. People are...
yeah, as the weather gets nicer, everyone's coming out, and of course it's a weekend, but...
I think let's turn right here and just kind of go to the corner a little bit.
Yeah.
And show off. We're going to show off a couple buildings that are just on the outsides of the park just a little bit. So you're looking north right now. We're at the corner of Broadway and 17th. And on the right, you're going to see these kind of row houses over here. These were the only sole survivors of the row houses that were built in this area in the mid-1800s, really around the 1840s. And we started to see the city start to expand north, really in that kind of mid-1800s time. And these were built in the 1840s. It is some of the only remaining row houses right here in this area. Of course, they wanted to pop up on the park, or right by the park, because who doesn't want to live by a park? I mean, it's, you know, built-in green space for your home, basically, which is quite nice.
Yeah. All right.
Let's go back in, yeah. Let's show the Decker building over here.
I'd also like to show off this building over here.
Okay, let's do it.
Because it's so beautiful. And it's lit so beautifully, too.
Yeah, it's good lighting today. Thank you, lighting department.
Yeah.
They did not take the Saturday off, which was very nice.
I love this building here on the corner. And I mostly love these bay windows on the side you see coming out there. Such a cool old building.
Yeah, good light. That's why they have all those plants in that window.
Yeah.
Because you have such good light. My goodness. All right, let's sneak in. I think we should go in and show it from over here, maybe.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out our best spot to show the Decker building. And the Decker building, which you'll see coming into view shortly, the first couple times we did this Union Square tour, it was still covered under scaffolding, but it's recently been unveiled, and you'll see how kind of bright it is. This kind of whitish building, not the one on the corner, but the one sort of next to it, not sort of, the one directly next to it. It was built in 1892 for the Decker Brothers Piano Company, but most notably, this is where Andy Warhol had his studio, known as The Factory. It was located here in 1967 to 1970. And this is where Andy Warhol was shot by Valerie Solanas because she thought Warhol was taking control of her screenplay. But a really cool building.
I'm just going to zoom in on some of the detail of the building, but it's sort of tough to see from far away. But with our fancy schmancy zoom here, look at that. Isn't that really cool, that detail?
Sort of like a Moroccan, Middle Eastern look to it. Really beautiful. Again, that's called the Decker Building, built in 1892. Shall we make our way inside in the park area?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so we're going to walk a little bit through the market and then make our way into the first entrance into the park, and we'll find out what the inside of the park has in store for us because of the mulching they're doing inside today. Hopefully we can wander around our normal route, but they might have some things closed down due to mulching.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're fine. Sorry. Let's go. Let's see. We can go over here past the Rooted Family Farm.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's called. Oh, we have some St. Patrick's Day revelers still going. Wonder if they partied all night long.
Still hanging on.
Yeah. All right. So we're making our way in, and the sun is hitting this part of the park so perfectly. You're going to see actually a really cool silhouette as we make our way in. And I don't even think I'm going to say who it is. I want to see, for those that haven't been on this tour yet, see if you can guess based on the profile or the silhouette as we make our way up here, who this statue is. And I will tell you that this is one of 3 statues in New York City.
Exactly, Elsie. Good eye.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Abraham Lincoln. You really could see it quite perfectly against the sky there. So 3 statues dedicated to Abraham Lincoln throughout New York City parks. There's one in Prospect Park in Brooklyn, also one in Grand Army Plaza in Brooklyn. Then there's a playground named after him in Harlem as well. But this was designed by Henry Kirk Brown in 1870. It's made of bronze, about 20 feet tall or about 6 meters. So Lincoln actually delivered a famous campaign speech while running for president at Cooper Union Great Hall, February 1860, which is not too far from here. In fact, some of you have been on our East Village tour before, where we show that one off. We're doing East Village again soon as well. And we show off the Cooper Union there as well.
I don't know.
I think we stay over here and do a little zoomy zoom.
Let's do it.
So normally we would head into the center area.
Yeah, you can see they have the gates blocked off today because they're doing the mulching inside. And they have the yellow tape you can see on the side. But we'll zoom in and show you the base of this really cool flagpole.
So this is the Independence Flagstaff, and it commemorates the 150th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And it was completed in 1926 by sculptor Anthony De Francisci. And we see these kind of allegorical figures around the bottom of it that represent democracy and tyranny. It also has the text of the Declaration of Independence around it, as well as symbols from the 13 colonies, which are kind of around that. I'm going to do a little point there around this area. There's shields of them. And maybe what we'll do is go around and maybe show it again from the other side, too.
Yeah.
Because then we'll have some good light from the other side as well.
Don't they know who we are?
I know, Mark.
I know.
I know, we should talk to them. The truth is, if they didn't have such scary-sounding machines, I would say let's just hop the fence and go. But those machines sound scary to me,
Yeah.
and I don't care to fight them.
Yeah.
So we're going to go along this sort of center area. When they're not doing that mulching in there, normally that's opened up in that middle area there, and you'll see folks picnicking out there. And it does oftentimes close down in the wintertime so that they can sort of prep it for the summer, which is exactly what they're doing right now. But we'll make our way to kind of this, what do you think? You want to go here?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can actually see a little bit closer here. Get a little bit. You'll see the symbols on this bottom part right here. That's of the 13 colonies, one symbol for each of the 13 colonies. Now, this was a gift from the Tammany Society, who we were talking about earlier, that corrupt political organization. And actually, while they were building this is when the corruption came to light. And so the public ultimately ended up taking over the implementation of that flagstaff and paying for it so that it wouldn't be known as the Tammany Society flagstaff. And they therefore kind of changed the name of it to the Independence Flagstaff. Should we show off?
That is a
yeah.
major tree.
Take a look at what we've been hearing this whole time. My goodness.
They took down a tree, or maybe it fell. I don't know, but
I wish he was turning it into some sort of like fun sculpture.
like a carving.
Yeah, I wish there was like a carving contest in the middle of it. Oh, thanks, Paul. Wow, that is major. All right. Let's actually let's show off the dog park before we
Oh yeah.
exit this. We're gonna make our way out of the park a little bit, but before we do, just a little bit of fun puppy action. There's a little dog park on the edge of the park. A new statue there. I have to look that up as well. That's brand new.
Oh, yeah.
Friends of the Union Square Dog Run, erected 2022. I have to find out more about that.
Someone mentioned about the so many benches in the park. Yes, indeed. There are certainly in every New York park there are plenty of benches for seating. You know, to sit down and rest. And on a beautiful day like today, you could just sit and people watch for hours.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So let's go behind these tents a little bit. We're gonna head up here to a fountain that won't have water in it at the moment. But it was because it was originally a drinking fountain. It was crafted by German sculptor Karl Adolf Dondorf. So Daniel Will James Fountain is what it's called. It's named after the donor, Daniel Will James. This was dedicated in 1881, and it was to promote public health as well as the virtue of charity. So the purpose of this was basically to promote the temperance movement, and the idea was to have cold drinking water that would sort of reduce the public's desire for alcohol. So you would come here and get fresh water rather than, being enticed to go get some green beer on St. Patrick's Day, get some fresh water.
There's a little friend there.
Yeah, we're trying not to get him in it as much. But 1842 was when the Croton Reservoir Aqueduct opened up, and New York could finally have a consistent supply of fresh water. So we started to see these public drinking fountains pop up all over. Now this one had tin cups attached to it as well, so that you could just pop up and grab the drinking cup and drink out of it. Can you imagine? I would carry a sponge with dish soap around with me so that I could just give it a quick wash before I used my drinking cup, basically. We're going to make our way back along now, and as we do, you'll see some bronze sort of plaques inlaid in the pavement, and we'll show off this one right here. We'll show off a couple of more, as long as they're not covered by vendors. But these were all sculpted in bronze by Greg Lefebvre, and they were dedicated in 2002. And this particular one shows what the park looked like in 1872, what Union Square Park looked like. Now, there are two sets of them. One set depicts the history of the park, and the other illustrates scenes of the labor movement. Again, these came about in 2002. They go all the way around the park, and it shows the 200 years of history associated with this park. Again, this particular one shows what the park would have looked like around 1872. We'll show off a couple of more of those.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, here's one right over here we can show off. I think we could sneak it in behind this fender. What do you think?
Yeah.
Is that too shady?
No.
She's, her feet are right there, but I think we can sneak it in. So this one actually shows the statue of Abraham Lincoln that we were just seeing. So this one shows, depicts a scene of that right there. Lori, the market happens Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday.
And those little plaques are... Rosie, no, those pies have been baked. These plaques are all around the whole park. I mean, we could. I mean, we don't want to show every single one of them because this tour would never end. But they are really cool.
This shows the Ladies' Mile. So this area of New York was known as the Ladies' Mile for a while because there was shopping in this area.
Yeah.
So we're just going to come over here to show you another famous sculpture over here of a famous person. We can sneak through by this cone. Give us a second while we maneuver some obstacles. So coming into view, we have right here in this little teeny sort of flower bed, Mahatma Gandhi. This was dedicated in 1986 on what would have been Gandhi's 117th birthday. Bronze sculpture by Kantilal Patel. Gandhi, of course, is one of the most famous, or important figures, I should say, of the 20th century, a champion of the non-violent protests and Indian independence from Britain. So it makes perfect sense that he'd be right here in Union Square, where it's known for protests and rallies. And the idea was to have Gandhi, along with Lincoln, Lafayette, and Washington here. This quartet was sort of devoted to defending freedom. And again, I love this one because it shows him in motion on the bed of a rock coming up out of the ground. I think it's a pretty cool. And here's the plaque that indicates the dedication of this particular statue right here.
Really cool. I think those are magnolia trees behind him.
All right, so we're going to head kind of back to the south corner. I think we can sneak in right here.
Yeah.
Now, this part, these vendors that you're seeing here, they're kind of here every single day, and they're just sort of various art vendors and jewelry vendors and knick-knack vendors. But the farmer's market that we were seeing earlier, the farmer's market that you were seeing earlier, that's the one that's here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. I don't know if you can hear the birds chirping on this gorgeous day. Here's another entrance to the subway right here with these cool old canopies heading down. At this subway, we have the N, Q, R, and W, and also the 4, 5, and 6 are all right here. We have some sort of a singer on the other side of it as well. But we're going to make our way up here to show off George Washington. I mentioned him when we were looking at Gandhi just a minute ago. But he was also sculpted by Henry Kirk Brown, who did the Abraham Lincoln statue. This was unveiled in 1856, and it was the very first public sculpture erected since that fateful equestrian statue of George III in 1770, the one that we show on our Lower Manhattan tour that they tore down and melted into ammunition for the Revolutionary War. So this is the first one that was sculpted after that one was torn down. We're trying to get a good spot for where the sun is hitting it. Yeah. I'm going to go over here in this little nook maybe. So this depicts Washington on Evacuation Day, the day he reclaimed the city from the British troops. It's bronze. It's 26 feet tall, or 8 meters. Terrific sculpture of him right there. Agreed, Sue. It is a lovely morning to be in the park. There's lots of folks out enjoying. I also see some protests happening. Again, a very popular spot for protests. I think this is some sort of a religious moment happening over here.
All right.
And
some of those classic water towers we talk about all the time. We saw a couple of those on this tour.
And we're going to make our way over here to show you this huge bit of public art that's on. Oh, yeah, look at that before we see the public art. I love these old lampposts that are here. But on the side of this building, it's called Metronome. It's this entire side of the building that you're seeing coming to view. And I bet as we get closer, it'll be better, right, with the light?
Yeah.
Or is it showing up okay? The sun's right behind it. But this was created by Kristen Jones and Andrew Ginzel in 1999. It's 100 feet by 62 feet, or 30 meters by 19 meters. Now, it's made of a few components. And I think I'll wait till we cross the street to talk about the components so we can be sort of straight on with it.
Yeah.
We have 14th Street to our south, by the way. And ahead of us is 4th Avenue. It's that little tiny sliver of 4th Avenue.
And there's Broadway that, of course, goes down right sort of diagonally through Manhattan. That Broadway continues down there on the southern end of Union Square.
All right, so we're going to come over here. Once we clear these street signs, we'll discuss this art that's on the building. So it's got a few components to it. You're going to see kind of a rippled aspect to the building. That's all brick, and that's known as the vortex. And then there's a little tiny hand at the top. It might not show up on this day. Can you see, Patrick, on the screen?
Waiting to yeah.
I don't know. If you're watching on a big screen, you might see it.
I'll zoom in on it.
Oh, there's a thumbs up. You can see it. Okay, good. So a little tiny hand, that's called the relic. And just below that is a hole there. And it puffs steam out throughout the day. And then there's gold specks all around that. That's known as the source. And then a giant rock fragment. It's known as the matter.
Happy St. Patrick's Day or whatever drinking day it is.
I don't know if you could hear that guy biking by. I think you could. He had a solo cup in hand, and I think we can guess that it wasn't a sensible glass of water.
Or iced tea.
Yeah, or it might have been iced tea with something in it.
A Long Island iced tea.
Yeah, exactly. So this whole piece is known as the metronome right here. And then as we scan to the left, on his way to the Temperance Fountain, yes, exactly, you're going to see this big clock right here on the side. So this is known as the Passage. And it used to show a version of the time, but now it's kind of a sobering statistic. It shows the time left to dramatically reduce carbon emissions before the planet kind of reaches a devastating tipping point. So it's sort of a sobering clock to look at these days. Sometimes I wish it would go back to the just the simple time would be fine by me. Yeah, exactly, Helen. Yeah, Joanna, any excuse to drink. He was, although he was drinking and driving on his bike. So we are at the end of our tour today on this glorious day in Union Square. Hope you enjoyed the sunshininess. We're going to head back to the main center area.
We have a few minutes. Should we go up to? Let's go up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, if you
we
want to
should
hang.
cross.
Okay, yeah, let's
Yeah.
do it. If you want to hang, we're going to go. There's a little sneaky. We're going to go into the Burlington Coat Factory. There. That's the truth.
We're taking you to the Burlington Coat Factory.
And
So get your credit cards
yeah,
out.
exactly. If you don't know Burlington Coat Factory, it's sort of a department store.
There's just a really great view from their windows of Union Square. So we're going to take you up there, and we'll end with a nice shot up there. Even though that, boy, looking north, that's clear, sunshiny day.
It really is, so, a perfect day. Yeah, when we get up there, there's a good, kind of bird's eye view of the entire Union Square Park, and it'll sort of give you a nice layout. Oh, this fan is, they stopped. I think, so as we make our way up, I'll just, let's just check and make sure. I think we got, Sue
Yes,
says it's
Elsie,
snowing
that's
in
the Empire
Toronto.
State Building. We'll get a good shot of it once we get up here to the top of this store.
One Sue says snow in Toronto. The other Sue says, let's go to Nordstrom Rack. I like to call it Nordy Rack. Do love a good Nordstrom Rack.
Yeah.
Burlington Coat Factory is sort of the discount version of Nordstrom Rack. I think I might, once we get onto the escalator, move the microphone to you, Patrick.
Okay.
Because it'll be a little bit easier to maneuver. Everyone, here we go. Credit cards at the ready. All right, I'm going to move our microphone over as we get on. So again, the tour is basically done, but stick with us if you want another good view of Union Square.
Yeah, we're just going to give you. We're going up here to give you one really good shot of Union Square Park, and we just sort of stumbled upon this when we were shopping one day,
Yeah.
and we thought, oh gosh, this would be a great.
Yeah, agreed, Sharon. I wish it was wooden, like the Macy's escalator. Which actually reminds me, I'm glad you said that, because we put on the schedule the Macy's Flower Show. We have 2 tours of it. It'll be the same tour, but we have 2 different dates of it coming up. So if you want to see the Macy's Flower Show,
Oh, thanks, Tish. Tish put that link in there for the Macy's Flower Show. So we're going shopping, everyone. So we'll get a cart. I think there's room for all of us.
yeah. Okay, and we have to go up another escalator, but then we'll have a good shot of everything. Also,
And yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, also, we just recently added a brand new New York at Night tour, which is the Meatpacking District and Little Island. So if you enjoy our nighttime tours in New York, check that one out. Oh, yeah, we got a good spot
Oh, geez, this is
right
going to be
by
terrific.
the ladies' flip-flops.
You thought you were buying some flip-flops? Well, get a load of this.
Get ready. It is a perfect light on Union Square. There we go. Marie says, woo! There it is. Look at that. It's just gorgeous today. So now you get a great shot of the Empire State Building. For those of you that have joined us at Madison Square Park, you see a little bit of the Metropolitan Life Tower there underneath its scaffolding. There's George Washington there in the center.
Yeah.
This, I'm going to try to do a little bit of a point if I can. That building right there, that's all the way up at Times Square, just to give you a little bit of perspective. Goes all the way up there.
Oh, thanks, Patty P.
Really stunning.
All right, so there we go. There's the W Hotel that we showed earlier in the tour. That beautiful Beaux-Arts.
Do you think you could zoom in on the pavement there? Look, it says prophecy spot, hugging spot, kissing spot.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody took some chalk art. Thanks, Susan. Oh, and thanks, Lise, or Lise, for following us. Yeah, indeed, if you want to see any of our upcoming tours, you can follow us. There's the hugging spot in Union Square, and then there's the kissing spot in Union Square. Sarah, you went up to the Empire State Building and loved it. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oops, nope, going the wrong way.
There's a protest happening in Union Square today. As we said, it is a very common spot for rallies and protests. Looks like a couple different ones happening right there. Thanks, Joanna. Again, ladies flip-flops behind us. Thank you all again for joining us today at Union Square. It was a beautiful day. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, if you want to see our upcoming tours, you can always follow us. Tomorrow we're going to be doing Central Park 2.
Yeah, that's right.
Go ahead.
These 3 buttons up here in the corner, if you click those buttons, there's a follow option. And if you hit that follow button, you'll get notifications every time we add a new tour.
Thanks, Newsy.
There you go,
thanks,
Tammy.
And
Thanks.
Sue and Kathy. So tomorrow, Central Park 2. And we're hoping we get some
Betsy.
cherry blossom bursts tomorrow.
Yeah.
We've been following along. Central Park has a great map of where the blooms are happening. And we've been following along, and it says pre-bloom right now. But we're pretty sure we'll still have some daffodils and some croci. I wonder if that's the plural of crocuses.
I don't know.
Croci.
You say crocuses? Crocus. Or you
Yeah.
just say crocus?
Crocus. Just crocus.
They don't even know us.
A field of crocus. But we'll see a lot of that tomorrow around the same time. I think tomorrow at 11:15 a.m. here in New York City. So
Yeah.
we'll see you there in Central Park. Call them Crocs.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, thanks everyone. We'll give you a zoom in a little bit. I think it was Cindy who asked for a little zoomy zoom of the Empire State Building. There she is in all her glory. Very top of her there. All right. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll see you all again very soon.
Have a wonderful Saturday, everybody.